Yeah. All right. What is up? That's perfect.
That's a good one.
What's up, everybody? And welcome to episode 101 of Breaking the Mold. We are your Tuesday night delight here on the Realm Collectors YouTube channel. If you prefer an audio version of this podcast, we got you covered. We're on iTunes and Google Play, and you could subscribe on your favorite podcast pushing platform. All right, I'm Harik BX. Let's say what's up to the rest of the crew. First up, Big Dom. What's happening?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Had a great weekend. Celebrated my wife's cousin's aunt's 65th. I think she was 65 years old. Year-old birthday. So
nice. That's a milestone.
Yeah. So it was fun. Went out with the family. We had afternoon lunch at a nice Italian restaurant. So it was really a good time. Enjoyed. And then just that was Sunday. Saturday I kind of chilled. Did some house cleaning. Didn't pack away the Christmas stuff just yet, but I plan on doing some of that maybe next weekend, or if not, President's Day weekend, which is February. I contracted the terms and conditions with my wife, so.
Yo, you'll leave the Christmas stuff up all the way till February 20th?
Well, we kind of had a late. We had a kind of late. Yeah, but we kind of had a late getting them up, this year with So once we got them up, I think we got them up the week before Christmas. So we had a lot of crazy things happening in December for me, and then I didn't. Eventually was hosting Christmas, so I had to get the shit up. So I think I did it that weekend before Christmas. I think I had everything done that Friday night. Eventually it was all done. And then that Christmas week happened. So when I got everything up, I kind of already contracted with my wife and said, listen, this stuff is staying up until at least President's weekend. February.
Me and my dad left the tree up till Easter once back in the day.
Wow. Nice.
Oh, man, I couldn't do it.
Because I get a 3-day weekend that weekend, so I can use those 3 days just to get everything down. But I don't know. Maybe this next weekend coming up is Martin Luther King. I have off on that Monday as well, so maybe I'll put some other stuff away and just leave the tree up.
Dude, shout out to MLK getting us a day off, man. That's awesome.
Word up.
Yeah. I have all those houses. You guys seen those houses? I gotta fucking pack all that shit back in the boxes and stuff. That's fucking crazy.
So Dom, did you at least use the good weather to get the outside decorations down?
Yes. All the outside is gone. Yes, that's done. But we don't have much. I live in a townhouse that's pretty much connected to my neighbors, and I don't put too much stuff out. So everything is taken care of outside.
Nice and easy. No fuss, no muss. Yeah,
dude. I was a little unhappy about the heat this weekend, because I don't have air conditioning in my vehicle, so I opted not to fund that investment when it went down this past October.
Oh my goodness!
going into the winter, I knew I was not going to use it. So when it hits 72 degrees on a Saturday and it's kind of hot in the car, and I need some air conditioning because it's just to cool things down. But I opened up the window; it was suffice. But
open the window.
You just got to deal with the wind blowing,
Yeah, exactly. And women don't like that much because it ruins their hair. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Ruin your hair.
Yeah. My hair, JD. About your beard.
Have her take a separate car.
Take a separate. And that's why Brian is single.
It's not by accident.
That was some pretty incredible weather, though. Now that you mentioned it this weekend up here,
it was wonderful. It was wonderful.
It's pretty nice.
But I think later on in the day, it was climbing. It was getting hotter as the day went through. So it was as I later in that day, I was running some errands and driving around, getting in and out of the car, and it was getting hot, and I was like, fat man sweat was happening, and I was like, no, not now. Polar bear weather. So,
all right. No, nice. That sounds like a good time, though. Good time this weekend. JD, how are you doing this?
I'm okay. How are you guys doing?
Good. Everything is very good.
I'm well.
Yeah. A little frustrated. I don't feel all that good.
No?
I played hooky from work today, and yeah, I don't know.
Bang
Not
out,
feeling
hang
good
out.
sick wise? Like you got any cold or?
Yeah, everybody was sick in there, and I'm hoping that I'm not getting that, but I don't know. We'll see.
Caught some crud at work.
Uh-huh.
Somebody got you sick.
Supposed to be a sanitary environment. Damn it. But yeah, and then just dealing with a company, a retailer, and I'm not happy.
Oh,
Not a happy customer.
Do you
Disgruntled.
want to talk about it?
Sure.
share.
Is it
So-
online or is it a brick and mortar?
I believe they have brick and mortar, but it's online.
Yeah.
So, recently the Four Horsemen made a deal with Megalopolis.
Uh-oh.
Uh-huh. And they're a fucking joke. Pissing me
Uh-oh.
off. So I participated in their Black Friday sale, right?
Oh yeah. Good times.
Yeah.
That was a good sale.
Yeah, if you get your items.
Uh-oh.
It took them almost 3 weeks just to acknowledge I ordered anything. Here it comes back that their system got so much traffic that their credit card machine started denying transactions.
Oh shit! So whatever you ordered got denied, and you didn't know.
Yeah, but luckily their system held the items as they were being sold. It just didn't charge. So we got all that figured out. I spoke with the owner. It took maybe another week and a half. Mind you, most of these are Christmas presents.
Yeah.
So it was like maybe the week before Christmas till I get this box of stuff.
Oh, wow.
And then I open it up and it's missing stuff from the order. So I took a picture of it and I messaged it back to the owner again. And he's like, "Oh, I'm going to kill somebody, blah, 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 blah. I'll get it fixed." And then I never heard anything. So then I waited another week and I was wrapping presents on Christmas Eve. And I'm like, I messaged him right then and there. And I'm like, "Oh, I'm wrapping presents," and realize I'm still missing blah, blah, blah. And then, it was a couple days till he got back to me, but he's like, "Oh, I'll take care of it. I can either refund your money or find the item for you, or we can send you something of equal value."
Oof.
I'm like, "Well, I want what I paid for." This is fucking ridiculous. It's like a month.
Is the item still available on his site, or is
I
it
don't
gone?
even know. I haven't even gone to their site. And I still haven't gotten it. I still haven't heard anything. And then with the Mythic Legions, the Barbarian builders that we all paid for and didn't get because their factory, made the wrong figures or whatever. They sent an email out to everyone that said, "Hey, send us a copy or your order number or whatever and how many you ordered, if you changed your address, blah, blah, blah." So we had 3 days to reply to that. So we both replied because we both ordered them. She got hers how long ago? It was I don't know. They're still sitting here. Probably 2 weeks ago she got them.
The female barbarians?
Yeah, the female barbarians. I my email, they didn't even respond to it. Nothing. So then what was it? Last week I shot him a message. It was like, a response would be nice. I paid for these items and you guys are supposed to be shipping them out. What the hell's the deal? So it was not until Saturday they replied to me and were like, "Oh, when we're in the shop on Monday, we'll look everything up and get them sent out to you." So I played their game. I didn't reply. Monday rolls around. I don't hear anything. I messaged them today with just like ... like I'm still waiting. Hello, somebody. And they got back to me. Oh, what happened is the Four Horsemen didn't put you on the list of things, so they're like blaming the Four Horsemen now. Because they're continually fucking up, and here I'm without, whatever, probably $100 worth of shit. They could potentially have a very loyal customer that would spend a lot of money with them, but I mean, if you can't fucking sell shit and ship it out properly, I ain't fucking buying from you.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Like, so the entire thing is because like they supposedly got like a rush of orders, and I guess their system just couldn't handle the rush.
They just can't handle it.
That sucks. I wonder, is this something like, because I know you guys are like frequent like the Mythic Legions board. So if have other people like had the same sort of issue with them?
Yes. There's been there's at least one other person that I know that has sold their collection because of this place.
Wow. I know the store, but I've only had one.
Same exact problem. And if you look them up on like Yelp and Google and all that stuff, look for reviews. I mean, you're gonna find lots of fucking reviews with the same problem.
Yeah, that sucks. I think I've had like one purchase from them, and thankfully it was smooth. But
at this point, BBTS has them fucking beat.
No.
Like, I would rather buy shit from fucking Big Bad Too Slow than I would fucking buy from them.
You know what's funny is so my only interaction with them was the Mythics JD, you know what I mean? And that was the pre-order, that came in. But I still feel like their communication leaves some opportunities, for improvement for sure. Because I feel like stuff ships, and I don't know. We'll see. They did fix my address before I moved, so I'll give them credit for that. But I've done in the last like 3 weeks, I've had 3 small orders from BBTS, and they're all shipping out.
Right,
like, stuff like right away. Like I'm expecting the 3 or 4 business day lag. But I don't know, just an interesting side note. I feel like I put the order in, and then like same day I'm getting the notice that it shipped. So I don't know.
I mean, whatever. I guess they don't want to fucking make money.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? Get your shit together.
Yeah.
How long you been in business? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
The thing is like, I guess it's not a bigger place like a TF Source or a BBTS. It's more of like a mom and pop shop. Megalopolis?
Megalop is huge. Yeah.
Is it?
They have multiple stores.
Yeah. I would say they're definitely bigger than TF Source. I don't know about BBTS, but
they're not
definitely.
Because TF Source has like the Toy Source, like which sells a whole bunch of other stuff. So they
no. Do you ever go on TF Source toys?
Yeah, they're out of everything.
They have a lot.
They have a lot of stuff on their site, but they don't have it.
You know what? Like the website, the way I've seen that site, and then haven't they been at like any of these shows? Have they been at these shows that we go to, like locally?
They were, but they used to go to the TF cons, but now they barely go there anymore.
I must be getting them confused with another like online like retailer then, because I was under the impression that they were sort of like a mom and pop shop. So maybe I thought that was maybe why they're having the issues. But if they are a bigger retailer, then I guess there's really no excuse.
The other question I have is like, I see all these people, especially in the Cabal, they're getting their stuff like, people were posting like whatever January 2nd and 3rd that they already received their Wasteland shit.
Yeah, I haven't received my Wasteland.
And I'm like,
anything.
Yeah. Okay. So if you look at their site, they have like, you can invest in them. You know what I mean? Like you can.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I'm wondering.
I saw that.
Okay, so if I send you a couple $100 just for your fucking company, I get special treatment. Is that how that works? Like, is that how these other people are fucking getting their shit on time or before?
The VIP status.
Yeah.
Gotta be part of the board of directors.
Well, JV, it's a win-win. I mean, you own a part of the company and you get your stuff fast.
I don't know if I
Thinking
can.
about it, but
You
yeah,
gotta buy in. You
I
gotta
have
buy in.
Yeah.
Man.
I have not.
You know what? It just says to me like if you gotta pay to play, you're not fucking good at what you do. That's what it says to me.
Mm.
You gotta fucking rely on everybody else to pick your fucking slack up. But I mean, as I'm saying, like they have the potential to have, you know, a good customer. But
Yeah. Is that one of those sites you have to pay up front too? Is it pay up front or you pay supposedly when it ships?
I've never pre-ordered from them.
yeah, I've never.
Me neither.
I don't. No, I'm pretty sure the Mythic Legions you'll have to pre-order. You'll pay up front for that stuff. You always did from the beginning. But I did see an email that they sent out, and they do like bi-weekly payment plans now.
Mm.
So I guess if you're buying big ticket items or some shit,
Hmm.
you know what I mean,
That's
they'll let you
interesting.
make payments. I don't know.
Layaway.
Yeah. Oh. I don't know. Get your shit together, or I'm not fucking buying there anymore.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's gonna keep you from frequenting their site,
Especially
again.
with the Legions. It's
So-
gonna make me sad, but you know.
Leave them alone, I guess, man. If you got other sources to get that stuff, I guess you can't depend on them.
You know.
So, no. So sorry for the bad experience there.
Yeah.
Brink, how you doing?
Oh, fine, I guess. Hey, did you guys know that like a normal size container of peanut butter has 4,500 calories in it? Approximately.
It's over a pound.
That's like 2,000 more calories than you should have in a single day. So for those of you who eat entire jars of peanut butter in a single day, you shouldn't do that.
Are you talking about me, Brian? Are you specifically talking about me?
Wow, Dom.
No,
No,
I'm just joking, buddy.
that's funny.
How big is this jar? One of those small jars, or is it the medium jar, or is it the jumbo
The
jar?
normal jar.
What
Not
what
the
brand is
different
BJ's,
jars,
not the
Brian?
BJ's bar jar. The
No,
regular
that's
kind.
Well, there's three
Not
different
the kind that you can
sizes.
fit your whole head in, just the kind that you could fit your fist in.
Well, dude, the serving size is a tablespoon, and a
Right,
tablespoon's like 50 calories. Or 60
Well,
calories.
it's 2 tablespoons and it's 190 calories
Look at
per
that.
serving.
Look at that. That's crazy. That's almost a whole meal with the bread, and that's it. There you go.
Yeah.
You're dead.
Better enjoy it. Better enjoy that.
So I just thought that was pretty wild stuff, man.
It is.
And imagine if you had jelly.
Whoa.
Gary shaking his head. Instead of peanut butter and jelly.
Dude, this guy had a peanut butter on a hamburger.
Oh,
With bacon and jelly.
and
With bacon
That was
and
bacon
jelly.
on that shit, yeah.
Protein. It's protein. That's all protein.
shoot, that was delicious. That was-
And then he had another one.
I did. It's
Mm.
one of those meals you think back about, like you're like, man, that was just.
I love how Gary slipped that waitress some extra money to get us good service, and she just kind of took it, and then that was it.
I know, right? I was trying to I felt so bad, I was trying to.
You're trying to bribe the waitress?
Oh, I was just, it's a big group, and it's like, we're never obnoxious, but some people can be a bit more difficult, in that setting. So.
Gary, the funny thing is she was probably waiting in the back parking lot for you all night. Like, where is that guy?
Yeah, right. What's that? What is he think this is?
He gave me this money. I mean,
That's just trying to, just giving your tip early. That's all. Legit. No pun. No pun.
That's funny. Oh man.
that's all I got. That's all I
All
got.
right.
Talking about peanut butter calories.
That was great. All right, and G Money, how are you?
Dude, everything is good. I really got nothing to complain about. It's Sunday. My wife. It's funny. She had some family. Her brother and his family. They've got kids. One in college, grade school. One in high school. There's a soccer tournament in probably about 3 hours away. So like, well, we're in town for the soccer thing. If you guys want to come meet us. And I'm like, well, you're not really in town. You're in the same state. I'm like, So we basically drove like 2.5 hours to meet them at their hotel, visited with them for about 30 minutes, drove to the soccer field for her exhibition game and hung out there for the soccer game, and then basically drove like 3 hours back. So it's a lot of car rides.
Yeah.
It's just ironic because they live near Boston. So I'm like, when we lived in Massachusetts, your family was 2 hours away all the time. I was like, but that was it. Pretty calm weekend, you know.
Did you have air conditioning in your car? Did you drive?
We 1000% have functional air conditioning in the cars. It's just not really a luxury down here, you know. But no, it was cool. It was good. And then just trying to get settled in a new place a little bit more. Still no lighting, as you can see. I've got the shade off the single lamp, but.
I mean, how many Home Depots did you drive by on that?
Listen, Brian, it's not about buying. It's the installation project that I'm putting on.
Yeah, you plug it in the wall. You just
I'm
turn
talking
light
about the overhead lighting. Like I got to get like a real overhead light.
No,
Yeah,
why don't you get one of the things that goes in the corner? It's got all the lights that point in the
thing. Josh had a good comment.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Lighting in the chat.
Yeah, this guy's my voice.
That's good stuff.
His voice is all masked and deep.
What about you, Jose?
Oh yeah, I had another low key weekend. It was good. It was Jesse's birthday on Saturday, so we went out. Me, her, and her two sons went out and had dinner. So had a nice steak. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
some
ribeye.
Wait, let me ask. Did you order the right meat?
Yes.
There you go.
The correct cut. Yep. And I ordered it medium. It came a little bit medium well, but it still wasn't bad. You know, I was tempted to send it back, but you know, I took a couple of bites. It tasted good. So I'm not that type of person. You know what I'm saying?
As long as it's still juicy, man.
Yeah. You know, I felt like I definitely would have enjoyed it a little bit better, but if it was correct. But you know, her son's surprised because they ordered their steaks like well done, and I was like, "Whoa, what are you doing?" Like, no, but I don't know. I don't know.
Where'd you guys go?
It is what it is. Outback, local Outback over here. Yeah.
Well done.
You know, so I know.
You remember that menu at the place, right? When we went to whatchamacallit at TFCon, and it said like well done, and it said order the chicken or something.
Exactly. They're not even supposed to take that order if they say well done with a steak, but you know, I guess the customer is always right.
I mean, are they afraid of like getting something undercooked?
I don't know. I guess that's just their preference. I can't do that.
Some people can't handle the visual. Yeah, I mean, like they want stuff to look like gray or brown.
Yeah. Interesting. Even my girl had an issue with that, and I'm like, no, you got to order that shit medium, definitely medium all the time. You know what I'm saying? It's perfect. And yeah, but we had a good time. We enjoyed it, and then Sunday was just a chill out day, despite the nice weather. Like it's crazy. Like you figured it's such nice weather, we should be outside doing shit, but we were just home relaxing. So I always feel like we need a 3-day weekend like all the time because I'm ready to go back after 3 days. 2 days is not enough, so we like to enjoy and relax at home as much as possible. So. All right, so Dave's out on assignment. He's not here with us tonight, and it sucks, man, because we're going to touch on Rise of the Skywalker real quick. I know that movie's been out for a few weeks at this point, but us here as a group never really got to discuss it. So interested to hear some opinions. I think JD enjoyed the movie, but interesting to hear from Dom and Gary, hear what they thought about it. And, you know, Dave's the Ewok guy, you know what I'm saying? So I wanted to hear his thoughts of how they wrapped it all up. So we'll get that in a future episode. So what did you guys think? Like overall, like, you know, give you a score. Did you enjoy it? You thought it was a nice cap off to this Skywalker saga, as they're calling it? JD, what do you think? I know you enjoyed it.
I mean, I dug it. It was fun. It was fucking Star Wars, man.
Yeah.
I think they did a good job. I'm happy. If it were me, I would have done some things differently. But
like the way Brian feels about The Last Jedi.
You're not the fucking storyteller.
That wasn't my favorite either, but again, it's Star Wars. But you know, the way this played out, all in all, at the end of the year.
So you didn't like The Last Jedi, so you liked the way this sort of like retconned everything and just sort of, I guess, got back on track as some people felt.
Yeah.
Okay. So that wasn't an issue for you. Okay.
Nope. Nope, I liked it a lot. It was good.
Nice.
Hmm.
All right. I mean, you've always been a fan, right? Like from the beginning, like from the original films from back in the day.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I live this Star Wars shit, man.
All
I
right.
live it. I live it. I love it. It's great.
'Cause I spoke to Eric B recently about it, and he said even though he saw the originals as a kid, it's not something he was deep into, and he sort of got into it more like when the prequel trilogy got out. And then Josh sort of said the opposite, loved the franchise as a kid. And then when the prequels came out, he was like, this is shit. You know what I'm saying? So it's interesting, to hear that dichotomy, the different opinions and stuff like that,
Yeah, I mean, I'll say this: I don't really enjoy the new stuff. And I've said this before on the show. I won't go into it again. Like I just so a lot of the transition, I didn't care for it. Rogue One is probably the one I like the most. The other ones, didn't do anything. I wasn't even going to go see this in the theater, but I think the Mandalorian series really reconnected me back and got me interested again. So I mean, it was
That's your
fine.
girl, Gary.
I know, right? Oh, I like her so much.
Yeah, Gina Carano is hot.
I thought it was fine. Like it was entertaining. Everything that's been said on a lot of different shows and podcasts, it was just a lot of frivolous activities, I thought, in the storyline. But again, it was okay. I think because I didn't have a strong connection to the characters, when you try to wrap it all up, it didn't give me the feel so much. I felt like it was a little bit forced.
Mm-hmm.
But I can appreciate if it did that for other people. And I'll be the first to admit there's other series that I've shared that I like that are cheesy. Most people don't like, but they entertain me very much. And when some of those storylines are wrapped up, so to speak, I think those hit me in the feels, as we say, a little bit more than this series did. So, but like I said, I'm thankful that at least it's keeping the property, moving forward to some degree, and what it did spark in other things, because like I said, between the Mandalorian getting me excited again, I went back, I'm watching Clone Wars, which is one of my favorite genres for it. So my enjoyment for Star Wars, the parts that I enjoy, has been rekindled, but not based on this movie, you know what I mean? And not based on the storyline. That's for sure.
All right. So you weren't a fan of this entire sequel trilogy?
It didn't do anything for me. It really just didn't. And I'm not trying to be that person. A lot of the characters I didn't find likable or interesting. The hierarchy, the family ideologies and stuff. I don't know. It just it never hit me with really just being entertained by it as much. So, I'm fine with where it ended. And, if we get more single stories or things like that, I think that would be pretty cool to see.
All right.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Empire Strikes Back, and you know what I mean? That will be my all-time favorite.
Agreed.
And I can understand how you feel about I don't really feel these characters. I can understand that. And I kind of feel that way, but at the same time, it's just wrapping up this whole story. So I mean, and I'll say, all in all, Empire, Mandalorian, Clone Wars, and Rebels. That's my top tier of Star Wars.
I think we are on the same exact page in that same order. JD.
And Rogue One. I can't forget Rogue One.
I tell you the
Rogue
truth.
One's
I think that's it.
See,
don't forget about Corn Wars.
Clone Wars. Yeah.
I knew you were going to do that, Brian. Brian, I'll allow it.
All right.
Nah.
These aren't the kernels you're looking for.
I did feel sort of like a sense of finality with this one. Like it is supposed to be an end to this 9-movie arc, but I always felt like with The Force Awakens that it was supposed to be like a start, like a fresh start with these new characters, and this might spawn, this whole, new sequel of movies, and now I feel like you're just gonna get these 3 sort of with these characters, and that's it. Do you feel like the fan backlash?
Well, they left it open though.
I mean, it is.
Rey's still alive.
Yeah, but you know,
You know?
it's like I saw. Well, it's something I'm not even gonna bring it up. What I was just gonna say because I saw a meme about like sort of like how they wrapped it all up. I mean, it just did. I mean, I guess on the old characters, I guess you could say, which is natural because at this point they're old. The actors, if you want to keep those same actors in these roles, then of course these characters can't live forever. So you would expect like the wrap up with those. But do you feel like we're going to get like future movies with these characters like Rey, Poe, Finn, and the rest?
No way.
No.
I can't see them doing it, but they're definitely there to do it if they want to. You know.
I mean, they kind of already did with the Resistance. We get plenty more Poe there.
Right? Yeah. God, he's equally
Fucking series is horrible.
animated Poe is equally as annoying as.
Oh my god! Like, why do you even bother?
But that's it's an interesting point, Jose, because I mean, if you think back to the original first 3 movies, did Billy D. Williams think, hey, I'm going to make these space movies back then, right? And that there'd be enough of a following that they'd want to bring me back, 30 years later, as the story continues. I mean, I guess you never know, right? Like, so.
Yeah.
I just.
What happened though? Go ahead.
I liked it. I liked the movie for what it was, and I just feel like it was a lost opportunity that I can see that Disney tried to rush something out to get the money, to recoup some of the the money that they put into it, and I bet you, I'm not saying they made shit bagged full of money in regards to some of this, but and there's more money to be made, but and I'm not saying that they're not going to make their money or in the future in regards to other things they're going to do, but I think they should have took some time and actually fucking wrote all 3 movies, kind of give it the time and love that it's supposed to get, and I just don't think they did it that way. So it's just
I mean, it was like that from the beginning, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I understand they had to rush something out. If they rushed something out, they did The Force Awakens, and it was a good start, and I would, but it just didn't. It definitely could have just kickstarted a story where they can actually have a middle and an end then eventually, but I just feel like it just didn't do that. It just didn't.
So it felt too disjointed to you between what they did with The Last Jedi and this one. It is a little true. Like they sort of talked about like how this movie sort of retconned a lot of the points from like The Last Jedi, even though like I felt like that whole thing when Kylo was like raised a nobody, your parents were nobodies, and then I was like, even though he said that then, and I would have loved for them to go in a direction like that, I always did feel like, no, that can't be true. You know what I'm saying? Like I always did feel like that he's lying to her. But I think I felt like what they did here with the whole Palpatine twist and bringing him back, like I just feel like that should have been a thread that they should have needled throughout this whole trilogy and not just sort of brought it out like in the last film. Like I enjoyed it myself. I like the movie, like JD said, it's Star Wars. That felt very Star Wars. But I always feel like these movies, like, I guess just even though it's this, we're watching a fantastic movie with about space wizards and these battles in space. There it also has to follow some sort of logical pattern. And I just feel like the way they present like the First Order, like with Starkiller Base in The Force Awakens, that fucking huge ass planet with this big ass weapon that wipes out multiple planets at the same time, like that's just like so OP. And then now like the Emperor coming out of nowhere having an armada of Star Destroyers, each of them with a planet killing weapon.
Who's passing those things?
Like
who's passing those things?
Out of the fucking blue. Like, Star Wars was always like that, but it's like, damn, like just like that. There's no explanation. And I always feel like you always had to get more into the expanded stuff if you wanted to know a little bit more about what was going on. That's what I always felt like were a weakness in these films. But yeah. Brink, did you enjoy it?
Yeah, I mean, I liked it. I just wish that they had used a bit of the second movie to feed us what's going to happen in the third movie, because I think you guys kind of thought, but to me, when the second movie ended, I was like, it doesn't feel like a cliffhanger. You know, it just
Yeah, you need that
It feels
oh
like
shit,
this is the
that-
end. You know,
Yeah, that
Right.
you need
Like-
that oh shit moment, like to
Yeah.
like let's just think about mirroring with episode 5. You had that oh shit moment, and you're like, oh fuck, and then you're like, and then the story continued on, and you wanted to see the relationship between fucking Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader, and see whether he does, if he still has any good in left in him and all that bullshit. But like, if they put that, like, if they made like that reveal into I mean in the middle movie where it's basically Snoke, like, Darth Sidious was basically Rey's father or grandfather or whatever the case may be, that would have been cool. Like, that would have been the oh shit moment, and be like, okay, now I like to see where this goes at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If they had alluded to Palpatine being involved at the end of the second,
Yeah.
movie, that would have been really interesting.
Yeah. And
Or even like hints of him in
Yeah.
that's what I mean. It just came out of fucking nowhere. So even though it's good to see him, it's like it's just like you're pulling it out of your ass. Because in The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, there's no kind of indication that Palpatine's involved with any of the shit that's going on.
Oh, I mean, I'm sure that J.J. Abrams had an idea of where it, like, his vision of where it was going to go, but he wasn't allowed to collaborate with anybody as a whole. So it was like, they bring another director in for, that second film, and like, they don't have any idea where the person before them, like, where they were going.
Yeah, I mean, considering that all these movies came out relatively within a close amount of time. I mean, it was every other year basically that they put out one of these films. They should have had, despite the different directors, I think they should have definitely had some sort of like loose skeleton on the entire trilogy on sort of where they wanted to wrap this up.
Yeah, fucking outline. Let's look like an outline of what's going to happen. Like, what character, how these characters are going to get introduced, who are they at the end of at the end of this story, how they play into the Skywalker story, how are we going to transfer these Skywalker, the Skywalker characters, these old characters, and kill them off, and be effective in doing that, because these are the where you want to make it more effective when these guys get killed off, that they get killed off for a reason. There's some justification for them getting killed off.
Yeah,
but like, it's just I understood when going into Force Awakens that this was a transition. Like, we're not going to, Luke Skywalker was not going to continue after this trilogy. Han Solo is not going to continue after this trilogy. This is like a passing of the torch type of thing. We all knew that, but do it right. Spend some time and write a good story. Like, they had like a good template to just really write a good story, and kind of finish off this story and give it its justification in regards to where the Skywalker family goes and where their footprint is in this whole universe. But
yeah, well, I mean, that meme I mentioned earlier, it was kind of true. Like, I didn't even realize it, but it was basically saying, like, you got basically the Solo line kind of killed off, the Skywalker bloodline actually kind of like killed off, and who reigns over all, like a Palpatine, and who usurped the fucking Skywalker name by the end. So in a way, it's like, yeah, I guess that's kind of true. It seems like it ultimately, despite her, she's good. She's a force for good or whatever in the end, but she's still a Palpatine, despite her choosing to be a Skywalker. So it's like, did the Emperor win in the end, in a way? No? Yes? No? I don't know.
No.
I know what you're saying. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Do you get it? Because it's his bloodline that
it's
ultimately
bloodline,
is the one that still is out there, while the Skywalker bloodline's gone. Solo bloodline gone.
But she's not living his legacy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what his vision of that legacy is.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I enjoyed them. And it is what it is. I felt like, even though it was disjointed, because you had, I guess, the second one that sort of took a curve and they try to redirect with this one. ultimately I thought it was good. Like, you know, it did feel like, I felt like this trilogy felt like a real Star Wars more than the prequels did, because, you know, the prequels, that me and Josh discussed it on a VC, that you know, it was so like green screen that it just felt sterile, and the dialogue was stilted, and like here everything just seemed like they included a lot more practical effects, sort of like they did back in the day. So everything looked a lot more real and lived in and grimy, and it felt more Star Wars to me, like in that way. Like, do you guys agree?
Oh yeah.
I mean, I think, you know, any movie is going to be a product of its time. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I mean, it's, I don't know. Those prequels are, I don't know. I treat them for what they were, what was happening, you know, in pop culture, and, you know, what people were looking for and what they wanted for Star Wars back then. So I don't really fault them for too much, you know, in spite of what you're saying, Jose. Like, it's, yeah, you watch them now, I almost feel like I can go watch the original Jurassic Park from 1993, and the effects kind of are combined better with practical stuff to be, you know, because they were, right, versus just everything, except just being in front of a screen all the time.
Yeah.
I would be remiss if I didn't mention that there is another trilogy that will conclude this weekend in theaters.
Oh
that
God,
we have to at least talk. Yeah,
What is that? What?
Bad Boys.
Bad Boys for
Bad
Life.
Boys.
Right? So characters that I care about, and I'm curious what's happened to Mike Lowry and Marcus Burnett.
Somebody's after him.
Yeah,
Know
right.
him by
Trying to
name?
kill him.
Oh, Brian, of course I know him by name. They're great.
Don't get me to go back on Star Wars. I wish they did a lot. Like, I wish it was more of a Kylo story than a Rey story in this thing. I really did. But, you know, I don't get me, like, I understand, you know, that where they went and the direction that they went in, but like, I really felt like Kylo should have been the one that basically, like, you know, more into his character.
I mean, I did feel like, I mean, again, you didn't get much backstory in this film. They gave you little breadcrumbs and small little flashbacks, but like, I do feel like, as opposed to Rey, of course, Rey was the main character; she's the protagonist, you know. But I did feel like he was like almost right there with her, like, or just right behind her. As far
yeah, but like, I think.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I'm that kind of guy that I would like things that I would love to change about the story, and in this particular movie, the last one, I really, like, when I was watching it, I really wanted him to kind of be the one defeating the Emperor and, you know, helping her out, and he's the one that kind of, you know, dies at the end, but like, she rescues him, and then he's the one that, like, you know, finishes off, goes back to Tatooine, you know.
That was all Leia, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Leia was in what? How was? I'm missing that. What
that was
explain
her.
Yourself.
When he came back, that was all Leia. That wasn't him. She brought back Ben Solo.
So when Rey healed him on the Death Star, that was Leia that really healed him.
No. Oh, no. I thought you were talking about the end. At the end.
Okay. At the end, when he healed,
it was like it was
Rey?
like it was like she died to sort of push him back to the light side of the Force, and when Rey stabbed him, it was sort of symbolic of her killing Kylo Ren. So it's Ben Solo that's like.
I agree. I totally agree. With that.
And then, of course, the convo with Han just seals the deal, like, you know, sort of, you know, I guess saying it's okay. Hey, despite what he did, it's okay. That's another thing. Like, how do you guys feel about that? Like, these guys as characters, like a guy like Kylo, Darth Vader, and them sort of being redeemed in the final act of these films. But before that, they're basically part of a empire that's destroying planets, billions of people gone. Like, so the whole redemption thing, like them just sort of turning against their master and going to the light side. Do you think that's enough to just redeem them from the evil acts and the shit that they were doing before then? Like, it's crazy. Like, to me, like, to think that, like, it's like, no, like, that's not enough. Like, you were doing bad shit. Like, I'm just gonna turn to the light side. Like, to me, that's not enough. Like, almost feels weird to me that it's sort of like supposed to, like,
Jose,
make it okay, you know, make it okay.
I mean, Jose, we're not talking about typical normal emotions here. We're talking about the influence of the Force. I mean, do you know what it's like to be controlled by a dark fucking Sith Lord? I mean, it's a thing, man. Once you get past that, I'm sure it's like, whoa. What
So
the fuck have I been doing this whole time?
so it's implied that if you sort of drift to that side, you're not in control of what you're doing. You're
Yeah,
just
I think
fucking-
so.
yeah,
You
that's
don't
that's how you see it.
You don't understand the power of the dark side.
Because it's like the way Anakin like kind of flipped in episode 3 like that, and I enjoyed that film a lot, but it was like, damn, we were like, that's just like and they did hint at it in Attack of the Clones. He killed the fucking Tusken Raiders because of what happened with his mom. That was like that first like, oh look,
Like animals.
he's doing bad shit, and
slaughtered him.
and then even in that third film, he wasn't agreeing with the Jedi Council. You could see he's sort of like disgruntled, but then it's like fucking Palpatine just flipped him like this, and he's just like, wow. And now you're just killing fucking younglings.
Well, yeah, like that. I'm not going to go into what 3 and how he, why he turned over to the dark side and all that stuff. But like he, at the end, he like he didn't really. When he redeemed himself by killing the Emperor and going back to the the light, he died right shortly after, just like Kylo. So it's like, really, did they are they living a life now of where they're good and they're doing, they're doing good from now on? No, they just recently died. They died. They did all this bad shit, and they all of a sudden go to the light side, do one good act, and then all of a sudden they die. So it's not like. It's not like they're not living their lives and going now to on the good side for the rest of their lives. Like
like they're retired and living the good life after doing all that bad shit. So yeah, I get it.
I mean, I'm not saying they're deserving of redemption, but I am saying that once they shed that dark what do you call it, influence, they can be good again.
That's an interesting way to look at it. If that's the way that works, like that, it corrupts you, like, and it's not sort of like something of your own, but it is a choice. Like you sort of like, right? Don't they all have to sort of make that choice to, So, but I guess that could happen. Everybody makes mistakes, right?
They do. You gotta forgive.
And then, and at the cost of fucking billions of lives, when they destroy planets. I mean, Dark Killer Base.
When you live in a galaxy of trillions of lives, I mean, what's a few billion?
All right, but I guess so it looks like Dom was a little bit disappointed overall with the trilogy. Gary, not too fan either, but okay, so
I like I said, it's Star Wars. I love it for what it is. I'm not the storyteller. I'm not the director. They hire people like that to do it, and I enjoy the ride for what it is, and hopefully sometimes the ride is somewhat more enjoyable than others.
What do you guys think is going to come next? Like just different, like sort of one shot films, or do you think they'll try to do like another sort of like legacy series and trilogy?
There'll be a trilogy for Old Republic.
Okay.
And then they got the Obi-Wan Kenobi series is what's next in the next, 4 years or something, is when some of that'll start. I forget what they said. It was like 3 years. So they have the Mandalorian. Yeah. So they have the Mandalorian, and then
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
No, they got the Mandalorian, and then they got the Clone Wars coming next month.
Yep,
okay.
February 2nd.
We know that.
Month.
Okay.
That's next
And
month.
then there won't be anything new as far as like introducing another series or set of movies for another like 2 or 3 years. I don't remember.
Okay. Well, but thankfully it won't be another 10 years or something like that.
No.
I guess now that Disney got the franchise, they're gonna put it to use. And now with Disney Plus, I think that's pretty exciting to get like a series like Kenobi, because Ewan McGregor, it seems like he's very popular like in the fandom as far as like playing that character. So good to see that, like Gary said, you never know so many years later who or what character like that they might revisit, what fan favorite. So that's cool. And The Mandalorian just recently wrapped up too. Like, did you guys all enjoy that on Disney Plus? I felt like that was a pretty good piece of like a fiction. I mean, it's not the best show ever, but I love that it's like it was just very good. Like not kiddie, like I guess is the way I could say it. Even though it did have the Baby Yoda character, like the little gags or whatever, it wasn't like overdone. Like I expected something like of a lighter fare, and I felt like it was more in that Rogue One like type vein.
So I loved The Rise of Skywalker, but I was way more excited for The Mandalorian, and then I was playing Jedi Fallen Order, so like that's where my head was at, and then I realized like Rise of Skywalker's coming out. I'm like, It's like I got this Mandalorian and I get the Jedi Fallen Order, so like those were, you know what I mean, those are up there.
Yeah,
but
No, I'm enjoying the series. They're building characters. The first season was great. Granted, Baby Yoda is Baby Yoda. Like a lot of people pick on that series because of Baby Yoda, but I think as we grow into these other characters, like when was that guy, the one that always says what's the character that said like this who dies from the Scout Troopers? He gets shot down from the Scout Troopers. I forgot his name.
Queel.
Creel?
Yeah. Like I got emotional. Like when I saw him die, I was like, oh fuck, he died. Like because I really enjoyed that character. That then when they build him up and everything, and then seeing the Mandalorian build his put a grave out for him after they he at the end. It was somewhat emotional in regards to understanding that character, that he was just looking for peace, and he helped the Mando in his time of need, and basically again with regards to training IG-88 as a protector for himself and the baby, and then IG-11's sacrifice at the end was like great, that was really emotional, and in regards to him sacrificing himself for them to live and get past the lava river where they had to go. So it's like I think those characters, like with that series, I think that series will help build characters much more, get more emotionally involved in those characters, and then if they do those plot twists and those old shit moments, you're gonna enjoy that series as it progresses, because it's like come on, JD, with Clone Wars, that first season, you're like, oh yeah, great, but then like it started getting interesting in second, third, and you're like, oh fucking shit.
So by the time
good.
you hit the third season, I mean all of the God damn it, fucking brain just stops working.
Oh, the shit from the season one like pays off later on, like makes sense.
No, it feels more like it's geared more towards an adult mind that would understand what's going on and actually understand the emotions that some of these characters may or may not be feeling. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Of course, you have that. We got to appeal to kids. You know what I mean? These are our heroes, and these are the bad guys, and all that stuff. But under it all, you know what I mean? Like you have that emotional connection to these characters, and once you get into that, like the third season,
and you're getting that build up. So when they do those old shit moments, or they have that dramatic scene where you're so invested in that character, and all of a sudden whether that character dies or turns to the dark side, whatever the case may be, you're like you're very, the shock and the awe of it. It just is more larger than anything else regarding not knowing the character or giving two shits.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I think it's introducing some new characters. Brian just said it. It's a huge universe potential. Why do we need to keep seeing the same 6 people over and over again?
So
going through a similar story where you introduce some new stuff. If done well, you can get a connection to them without needing 9 movies to do it. And, again, I think it's a combination, the right mix of storytelling, interests, emotions. When the child, which everyone knows is not a real item, right? It's not a living thing in that series. When it gets punched, right?
I've been trying to find gifts for that for like the last 5 minutes.
By the biker scout.
I love that so much.
Everyone feels it, right? Everyone feels it. You're like, did you just do that, right? And all this stuff.
Kept doing it too. It's so great.
He did it like 3 times, and then the other guy like laid into it.
Yeah, right. When you
Yeah, people said they were gonna
guys-
call ACS and shit.
I don't know. It was
You guys gotta admit that scene with the two scout troopers and they're fucking talking and just
So,
that brought
I'm
me back.
trying
to
to
a little bit
remember
of
that
Clone
guy's
Wars.
name. He's a comedian.
Jason
The one-
Sudeikis.
Is that who that was?
Yeah, that was
Okay.
It brought me a little bit back to Clone Wars in regards to like, you know, listening to like troopers fucking talk and shit. But like that, and a little bit of Pulp Fiction in regards to just having a shit like a simple conversation. And
Exactly.
two guys just sitting on bikes saying, you know, do you understand where I'm coming from? I don't want to fucking get this guy mad.
And
He's
listen,
shooting his
like,
officers.
Listen, exactly right. Yeah, listen to what's coming back over the radio, right? It's like that's like almost straight out of Robot Chicken type stuff. Of hey, here's what's going on.
That
in
was
the
a
day
great
but
fucking
that's-
scene.
Yeah.
It's always been a like that sort of just the small little tidbits of banter has always been
Yeah.
there.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean, when I go back and I'm really jumping tangents here, but when I go back and I remember the first time I saw the movie Clerks and listening to Randall talk all about his perspective, right, of the Death Star and how the first one's fine, but the second one's under construction and contractors and this and toilets, right? The roofer like interjects, right, and kind of talks about it. It's even back then, I'm like, oh, that's a different perspective on, what you see.
Yeah, you're thinking real deep into it. I mean, that's what I said. I mean, again, this is all fantastical shit that we're watching, but
Right.
like I feel like, look, just the Death Star. Take that for example. Between Episode 3 and Episode 4, it took them 20 years to build that thing. But then, so that means as big a weapon as Star Killer bases. That means they must have been building that before the first Death Star. If you think about it logically, like, you know what I'm saying? Because they could build a thing that big in fucking 30 years. But look how long it took them to build the Death Star. Like that's what I mean. Like, and then again, Palpatine with all those ships and doing all that shit in secret. Like, it's just some of it is just like, I get it. Like, he probably, he had followers, he had this and his that, but they just don't explain stuff like that, like in the movie. And and even certain characters I always bring up, like you get a lot of hype, like Boba Fett with the original trilogy, but when you watch the movies, he was always a hyped character. But when you watch the movies, it's like, why is he so popular when he didn't really do much? Same with Phasma with the sequel trilogy. Like I was hearing before the Force Awakens, a lot of hype about Phasma, and then you watch the film and she didn't do shit. So it's like,
But they,
Throw a garbage disposal.
they look good, right? How much did Michael Knight do versus Kit, right? I'm just saying, people knew that, hey, this guy had a black leather jacket and he had a black T-top.
Yeah.
So I will say this, and the interest has gotten me wanting to spend money, which we always talk about, speaking with your wallets on Star Wars stuff. I've gone back and sourced some Clone Wars stuff that either I used to have and I kind of wish I still had in the collection, some Black Series. But I think we're going to talk about something else that I hope I can be spending money on soon. Very much so, actually, which I know is not based on anything factual yet, other than a lot of online discussions and little tidbits of information. But I don't know if you guys want to talk about the potential for could be really
Real quick. I wanted to sum up. So, like, in The Mandalorian, I think this is gonna think about the lifespan of whatever Yoda's fucking species is.
He lived to almost like 900, right?
900
Yeah.
years, yeah.
Because
So-
we will not.
Yeah, right.
It
I think this is the beginning of something much, much bigger.
it could definitely
The
be
Mandalorian
like,
is just the beginning of it. I think
they can go like fucking 500 years in the
not
future.
900
and-
years. They can,
Yeah, and Baby Yoda is
Uh-huh.
a 30 years something, Jedi where or fucking Mandalorian, because he could be a fucking Mandalorian now because he's in the, he has to be raised by him or be returned to his people. What happens if he didn't find any of his people? Then he get, and he trains them as a Mandalorian. He's going to be a Jedi Mandalorian, which is be pretty fucking cool for a little Yoda.
That'd be crazy. I mean, potential is there for them to go in sort of like almost any direction they want. Like it's almost limitless. Like I mean, that's the good thing about this like Star Wars universe, and its history is so rich, and there's so many like eras. Like again, like that old Republic era, which takes place like hundreds of years before what we're seeing here in these films. It's limitless, the stories that they could tell. So. Hopefully it's good. The stuff that they put out now that this Skywalker saga, as they called it, is all wrapped up, and we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
Let Filoni and fucking Favreau handle it. That's what I'm saying.
Just give them the reins, right? Just give them the reins. Yeah, I mean, The Mandalorian has been very enjoyable. I like the time period it's tackling, sort of like that 5 years right after the Return of the Jedi, right? So supposedly the Empire is done, but you see the remnants of them, with these like warlords and stuff like that. So it's interesting, just interesting to sort of see that, So looking forward to seeing more of that stuff. So Gary, what do you want to touch on?
So I think we saw in some of the chats and some other posts and YouTube stuff, and I'm going to be the first to say it's nothing based on anything factual that I can prove, other than just some conversations and some things. But the maybe higher than hoping likelihood of some G.I. Joe product this year, hopefully revealed maybe at Toy Fair soon, right? Yeah, right.
G.I. Joe.
G.I. Joe.
You got a sneak peek there, JD?
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, that's
custom?
the first pre-order.
Yes, it is.
Nice looking Serpentor there. Yeah, I've seen some little things. I haven't read any articles, but just sort of browsing through social media, I've seen some rumors about a 6-inch Joe line that's supposed to be coming out.
Just what I read, and again, I'm not trying to perpetuate anything and stir some. I just think it makes fun conversation and something fun to look forward to, which would be the first year that we've talked about a property that we'd like to see a resurgence of. But I guess there was some online information saying that a license for G.I. Joe product was given to Jazzwares, who's doing the smaller Fortnite figures. And so then people jumped to a conclusion right away around that hey, Jazzwares is going to do these 6-inch figures of G.I. Joe because that's maybe what someone wanted, which I don't know, logically speaking, doesn't make sense to me if I'm Hasbro because I can do all that stuff myself.
Mm-hmm.
But licenses go in different spots. And then there's some other articles talking about some possible reveals at Toy Fair of a 6-inch Joe line done similar to Black Series, which
Hasbro won't let that go.
Yeah, I mean, even though they haven't done anything with it, right? It's
that's their baby. It's been their baby from since the birth of it. It has been
right.
Hasbro's baby.
Well, and that's partially what got them Transformers back in the '80s, was swapping with Takara, for molds and things like that. But I was just curious what you guys thought. Like, I'm all for it. I would be super psyched, and I've been very clear that I'm not a completionist, but I think
he might be after.
I was gonna say, how deep it potentially goes. I think there were 5 characters listed. I think they were all Joes that I read, and I thought, with looking at what Hasbro's been able to do with digital paint on Black Series faces, getting some better articulation. Right, some Marvel Legends are really good. Some are kind of wonky and still a little bit oddly proportional. I think some of the quality of their Power Rangers Lightning line is well articulated and posable. I feel like if they really put in the care and put all those components together, there's the makings of a really good adult collectible. Align that with the fact that, again, I don't want this to sound like it might, worldly conditions, right? Anytime you have conflicts and skirmishes, military involvement, you see a resurgence in popularity of that type of product. You also, many times, again, opinions aside, start to see a much stronger resurgence in, I think, American pride as well, which all lines up with the brand. Again, so I'm not saying that these, worldly conditions are great. We get toys out of it, but I just feel like, conditions for a business model for Hasbro seem to make it likely, if it's going to be, attempted, is probably as good as it can possibly be, I think, for that to happen. And then combine it with the fact that factually we do know that there's a Snake Eyes standalone movie coming out, which
I
will
was going to bring that up.
yeah,
Why
so
do I keep hearing about this?
that'll have its own product, but maybe getting the brand back out, visibly before that happens. Again, is just, I think, a smart business decision. So that was a lot of me downloading on you guys, but I think I'm pretty eager to see it.
I just think it's
I would love to
funny
see.
talking about the war climate. I mean, World War III only started last week. I mean,
Yeah, this
what the
stuff had to have been.
I mean,
production
so do you
for a
think there
while.
is a deal with Hasbro and Jazzwares? Like, dude, as soon as the first missiles, you see them on
No,
screen, just
no.
fucking, we're gonna do it. All right? Yeah? No? Yes? No? Yes? Yes. Okay,
Yeah.
we're in. No.
Fire.
What are you talking about?
It's let's put it like this, right? When Tesla made the first model car available to the public, they did a little sporty, two-door convertible, right? Before they introduced the sedan. So you feel out the market there, and as conditions change and if people adapt to it, you got to be ready to pull that trigger. Otherwise you end up like the child and you have no merchandise for, Christmas 2019.
Yeah.
It's true.
Right? You didn't have anything in the pipeline, right? Soon enough.
Yeah, it probably the political climate aside, is probably like just the like they're fortunate, like if they are planning on putting some stuff out, it's just like it had to have been in the works for a while if they have things that they're going to show at the upcoming toy fair. That's February, so like just kind of works out in their favor as far as like all that. But I mean, I think that's interesting, man. Like but Hasbro, like I don't know, they've always seemed like what they've been like unwilling to like license out like transformations, not the Transformers
Right.
license itself to other brands, but just that transformation aspect. So I don't know, like if they're willing to do that with the GI Joe brand, maybe it just takes the heat off them from having to take too much of a financial risk as far as investing in a line. If somebody else is willing to do it, they do it. Is it supposed to be Hasbro putting this out or like another?
No, like I said, I only can speculate on a couple of things I read, and I think there was nothing confirmed one way or the other. I think there was just something about a G.I. Joe license, and including Jazzwares, people jumped immediately to it being a 6-inch figure line because I think that's what they wanted, and they compared it to Fortnite. Well, Jazzwares does 4-inch Fortnite stuff. They do a lot of other things besides those 6-inch figures. But then it just seemed like there was more discussion around Hasbro, potentially doing something with it themselves. That's all.
Yeah.
I hope that it's them.
Yeah,
That
me
they're
too.
doing it on their own. I mean, I keep seeing, but you might get any vehicles, and it's a big no. So Black Series does it. You get your $60. You get a figure, and you get a vehicle, or you get a creature. Marvel Legends does it with fucking 2-packs and 3-packs and deluxe figures, and who's I hope if it can be popular enough where they're sold out everywhere, guess what they're gonna do?
Oh, they're going to be sold out everywhere. If they do it, they're going to be sold out everywhere. The problem is, I hope they didn't. GI Joes. When I think about GI Joes, especially the figures, they come with a shitload of accessories. Like a lot of these guys have multiple guns, backpacks, bullshit. Like a lot of these things that GI Joe is known for, just for the characters alone. Like even sidekicks, right, Mister Gary. So I hope they don't, because they're going to a 6-inch figure and an amount of plastic they need to qualify for the regards to that $20 or $25. Make it fucking $25 if they can give us everything: articulation, head sculpt, all the things we're getting right now for Black Series, but giving us the accessories as well. And if they charge $24.99 for it, I'm all for it.
See, and I'll say this: I don't even know. Like, I agree with you in terms of the quality of the figure. Put the money into the paint apps, right, and a reasonable articulation and a correct, like anatomically accurate sculpting. But I was talking with Chuck with this. I think we were kind of just talking on Facebook, and we're talking about the same thing: the accessories. And the thing is, the original Joes, they didn't each come with a million accessories with each figure. You could buy accessory packs, with all kinds of stuff, right? And you could have it.
You
But maybe
could.
one backpack. Maybe they had like one weapon, right? They had stuff molded like on their person, so to speak. So you could say, oh, he's got grenades, he's got a knife, he's got more weapons there. But they had their iconic weapons. So to me, like, listen, give me Scarlet, right? with her crossbow and make her look like really pretty, and not in a creepy way, but make her look like stood out right on the show. Right, you clearly could tell. Make her, look feminine.
I already have one.
But she doesn't. I don't need a whole bunch of little miscellaneous things that are going to go back into a bag or a Ziploc or something like that. I think if they have their iconic components, I think that really could be enough, right? Snake Eyes needs his Uzis and his swords and timber. I don't think he needs a whole bunch of daggers and individual throwing stars necessarily, because what are you going to do with all that stuff, right?
Yeah. Do you think what JD brought up though is like what's really holding them back from ever doing a 6-inch line on GI Joe is because like it's a line that's expected to be like vehicle heavy, so that's the reason why they went 3 3/4, so like all the vehicle stuff.
I don't want to take. I'll just I'll let you guys share because I'm really excited. So I'm kind of steamrolling things. I think when people think about GI Joe vehicles, they don't think about the entry level ones, right? The little snowmobile, right? The little polar battle bear, the Cobra Claw, the the ferret, even the
trouble
Vamp.
bubble.
So let's move into the other ones, right? The Vamp, right? The classic Vamp for the first line, the Hiss Tank, which is absolutely iconic vehicle, I think, of any 80s property, right? It's just that black.
What was the other one? The Hawk or whatever? What was
the Skyhawk, the little green one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you move into your jets, right? Your Rattler and your Sky Striker. It's unlikely, but I think people our age remember the epic play sets, right? The Defiant, obviously the Flag, the Terrordrome. You start thinking about the General, some of those really big ones, right? The Mauler tank. There's so many, that they did, and they did those because you put them together, right? That was the whole point. Cost was saved because they came on the trees. You assembled them yourself as part of the experience. Put it together, put the decals on it, and you shipped it in a flat, smaller box, and then you built like this giant vehicle with it, which led to its own things later on, as far as some fragility and things like that. But, so I don't think the vehicles are the barrier. People say that a lot because we remember it. But if I had a Cobra Trooper and a Cobra Viper and a 6-inch scale Hiss Tank, that's not going to take up a ton of display space. You're right, JD. It's a $60 right Hiss Tank with one figure. I buy the other figure to go with it. And you can fit that. I think there's a ton of options that could fit that line where people don't realize am I going to get, a Mauler tank? Probably not. Am I going to get a Sky Striker for a 6-inch figure? Probably not, based on the way the TIE Fighter sold. If that were the case, we'd have an X-Wing already. Let's face it.
Once it was on clearance, it sold it.
Well, right. Exactly.
How much was that TIE Fighter? To almost 200 or something like that, right? Was it
150 to start? 160?
It was like 160, I think.
Okay.
But if like I said, if there was a market for something that size, people had to display for it, we all know it. We'd have an X-Wing by now, because that X-Wing could have been repainted 5 different times.
Yep.
But so I don't know. I think there's a ton of potential, but only it's like I feel like do it the right way or don't fucking bother. So don't half-ass it.
Well, I mean, you in the chat, you actually brought up a good point too. That like, and this is proven. GI Joe collectors are fucking cheapskates as well.
I think they fit a stereotype.
Yes, they do.
All
the 50th anniversary stuff that came out, people waited, they sat on it until it went to clearance, and then like they're not looking. Of course they want to sell, I got an entire collection for $5,000, this isn't included, but people don't want to pay.
But do you guys think that since if it was, let's say, done in 6-inch scale, which is now become the more popular line, both import like size and domestic, so between again Power Rangers, all the figure art stuff, right, the Dragon Ball, right, all those other anime lines and stuff that exist, I don't know, I have a feeling that this could spill over into people that collect that style figure, even maybe they weren't as nostalgic for the line.
I don't know. I mean, it could for anybody, if that was the case, whether it's nostalgic or not.
I think it has far more success then coming back and a 3.25, 3 3/4, like 4-inch scale. Because when they did that right in 07 and 08 for the anniversary, like you said, we got new vehicles, we got updated vehicles. People, they wanted that Sky Striker bad. I remember I used to follow pretty closely a lot of the groups for that, and that came out. It was $39.99 at Target, and people waited for it to hit $14.99 at Ross and Marshalls and stuff. And it's like, well, if you're always waiting for that to happen, I mean,
if it doesn't sell, we're not going to get any more toys.
Exactly. You can't be upset.
No more nice things. That's why we can't have nice things. So
I'm all for it.
Me too.
Open those fucking floodgates already.
Hopefully, hopefully at least hopefully there's enough of an installed fan base that wants to see that and support it. Because I mean, ultimately, I guess that's what it comes down to. Like in the end, right? They don't produce this stuff on a regular basis because it's probably not selling. According to what they need, I guess, to earn a profit. So
I mean, if you look on the His Tank forum or whatever where this was posted. Like, the majority of the people on there were pretty excited, I'd say it was, 3/4 of the people were more excited than the other. The last quarter were people bitching, oh, great, more figures that don't go with my 3/4-inch collection.
Yeah. Do you feel like this friend? I mean, obviously, I think this is an obvious question for any brand to survive. It's going to need sort of, as many people behind it as possible. But do you think for this to be successful, if they are planning on doing it, do you think they have to have some sort of tie-in media? Like you guys mentioned, like a Snake Eyes film and stuff like that. So do you think that'll help?
I think that might. Yeah, I think that's going to be why they're doing this. Is trying to revamp this line. You know what I mean? And hopefully it is based on a real American hero.
Yeah, I was gonna say if The Rock isn't able to help rejuvenate a franchise via a movie, then, I'm just saying you definitely got to take a different approach than just trying to start another movie.
Gary,
5 or 6 years
stop
later.
with the creatine.
I'm just saying,
for fuck's sake, it's rotting your brain.
Just saying. So I think it's true. I think you need to have a bit more of a foundation if you want this other movie to take off, because we've seen it before. If it's successful, then you can integrate movie stuff and then traditional stuff, right?
Yeah.
Look at the Todd McFarlane, DC line. Everyone's talking a lot about, with the street dates and stuff. You got some animated Superman and Batman stuff in there. You got Arrow from the TV series. You got some comic characters and some traditional stuff. It's a pretty wide range. If there's recognition there for that brand, I think that frees up the company to produce a lot.
Yeah, and it's just got to be good. They got to make sure that whatever they're going to use to sign, it can't be half-assed, because I think that's what'll sink it as well. Is if the tie-in media is trash, then it's just going to probably sink the toys. Nobody's going to want to buy the toys.
The last thing I was just going to say is, listen, while Black Series Star Wars in the little generic boxes are convenient, and I get that they don't have cards that get bent and stuff like that, but you got to put the Joes on a retro style card, just like they did for Star Wars and the Empire, right? Characters coming back out in Black Series when they did the 40th. You have to put them on pegs, and you have to get that visual there, because just sticking them in a generic box that is numbered is not going to cut it. It's not going to attract anyone's attention. It's not going to spark the parent in the aisle. It's not going to create any of those feels that way. So I think you definitely got to put them on a card. And just take your chances that the retailers will hopefully have pegs to put them on.
Yeah, and that's another thing, less shelf space out there. No Toys R Us. So where are you going to find these things? At Walmart or Target, I guess, are the main places. Supposedly,
there's already like pre-order links that are supposed to go up through certain retailers. Supposedly.
Pre-order for what?
For these Joes. Well, they're like, someone found it in their system. They're not like live or anything like that, but like someone found them.
You can put these things in Walgreens. They've got plenty of space for their sections now. Like GameStop, for as long as GameStop's still around, brick and mortar. But even Best Buy, right? Their little toy section that isn't just seasonal. I think you have a far greater chance hitting those than just the two Walmart and Target outlook for it.
All right.
Fuck that. Hopefully Dorkside does the same thing that they do for Black Series and Marvel Legends, and that's where I'm going. Because they'll have them first.
Yeah.
You'll get, everything that you want.
Yep.
Just
be done
fucking
with it.
pre-order it. They'll bill you when they come in, and that's it.
From where?
Dorkside.
The dork side of the force.
What?
It's a retailer.
Yeah, it's an online store.
They
It's an online store, Brian.
they do a lot of Black Series and a lot of Marvel Legends, and they usually get that shit in first.
Yeah.
The Fwoosh uses him a lot too. They're always shouting him out.
Well, if this stuff is imminent, like Toy Fair is not too far away. I mean, we're midway through January next month, so that's just a few weeks away. So, hopefully, if it's true, we see some of this stuff, and maybe once pictures of that stuff is out, word is out, it'll get people excited. Hopefully, it'll be successful. I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
I thought somebody in the chat sort of brought up like a good point. Like, what would you guys think? I think it was Jim Hogue. He said, like, what do you think about like sort of like a premiere line? Like they do the main line, like sort of still 3 3/4, where they could do all the vehicle stuff, but then you do like a 6-inch premiere line, I guess, with all the major characters. I guess
Pick a lane.
Yeah, agreed, man. JD and I we're syncing up today. Yes, listen, go with something and put your energy, and don't do it like half. Star Wars, it hasn't worked for Star Wars.
No.
Star Wars tried to run 3 3/4 5-point POA, right?
The only
For
thing
kids. Then they tried to do vintage, right? 3 3/4 and Black Series, and they all sucked at the time. The Black Series didn't have digital paint. Like the characters were stagnant. It's like there's just too much, and it didn't work.
Okay.
I think you pick one and you go with it, and it's my 2 cents.
Yeah,
That's
the
interesting.
3 3/4 line it's had its run.
Yep.
It's time to let that fucking shit die. Move on to a new scale. Greater detail, greater detail, greater accessories. You know what I mean? Sync what most of us fans have dreamed about all this time. You know what I mean? Sync what you need to make that happen.
Oh my god, dude!
'Cause it will take off.
And I'm just throwing stuff out there, but like it's not that hard to take some of your Legends tooling for the various Deadpools and turn that into fucking Storm Shadow, right?
No.
Yeah.
You got Luke Cage, right? They did that figure for the 2-pack. I'm just saying, little tweaks. You got Roadblock, right? I'm just saying,
Dude, I got a whole shelf of them.
Yeah,
back
the
here.
library is there for them, to do it.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Just to,
I'm just saying,
use stuff that they've already made.
Yeah, I mean, it's from a business perspective, right? Put the right combination together. So again, it's anatomically accurate because sometimes some of their Legend stuff is just too wonky. But
Yeah, I mean that would be a no-brainer considering how deep they are, like with those other lines like that. So it's like, why would they not do that?
Yeah,
it's Star Wars and Marvel.
I don't know.
If they feel the stuff won't sell, why don't they do like a Matty Collector type of thing? And fucking
that's
that
an
shit
option
up for
too.
order.
Yeah, pre-order.
I mean, I think their answer to that was that fucking, how the Unicron shit, whatever, the HasLab, they went that route instead.
Yeah, this is a HasLab I would get behind, and I have strong opinions about those two. But
Yeah.
I want the product. It's like I always said, like I didn't want the
I
sale.
hope it's
I don't want to
not
hear any more
something-
about HasLab.
Yeah,
I
me
didn't want
neither.
well, Brian's just still salty because he
Uh-oh.
bought Unicron.
Yeah.
I don't why. Oh, you're salty because you paid for it, dude. That's gonna no, you're not.
Fucking
That's gonna be
moron.
you're gonna fucking double your money if you want to sell that shit when it
Dude,
comes
they
out.
made like
No.
3 million of them. They didn't even fucking tell us how many they
You don't
made.
know.
They-
You don't
'cause
know.
It's all bullshit. It's all
You don't
fucking
know.
bullshit.
Wait till it comes out. You don't
Yeah.
know.
Saying
yet.
it from the
You don't know.
beginning.
I'm happy with
Saying
my
it from the
purchase.
beginning.
I'm
The
happy.
progress
I'm
bar
happy.
said it sold 270%. Is
Yeah.
how many they sold. It's fucking stupid.
Don't worry,
No.
but people still don't have it, and they're gonna want it, so you can still make
No
it.
one's
And you
gonna
won't
want
for
it.
another year and a half.
Piece of crap.
Don't worry about it. It's fine.
It's gonna
Wait.
fall
Be
apart.
patient. Don't worry about it.
I just waiting for Perfect Effect need to start dropping fucking. They need to start dropping teasers for their upgrade kits for that goddamn thing right now.
Brian Brian angry. He said that like Anakin in episode 3. I don't want to hear any more about HasLab. All right, guys, let's wrap on that. That was some cool discussion. Really, really awesome. Before we head out for the evening, let's run it down the line, get some where you at, and we'll open up ROC Hangout, of course, as always. So anybody that's watching could come in, hang out with us if you want to. So Brian Brink, I'll start with you, brother.
Hey, you can find me, Brian Brink, in the Facebook groups at Brinkalizer on Instagram. Tune in tomorrow for a good time.
A new episode. I'll let JD shout it out. Gary, what's up? Let him
Yeah, Gary on Facebook, and good discussion tonight. I appreciate the chat, and yeah, I mean, listen, I'm just being selfish on this one for what I really want to see. So I will gladly admit when I can have an impartial, objective view, and when I have one that's very subjective, and this is definitely a subjective view for me to to fill a wish list for myself. So
nice.
We'll see.
All right, CT 7777.
You can find me, JD Brocious, on the Facebook groups, Pigment Surgery on Instagram and Xbox Live. If you don't already follow Shelf Gravy, please do. We'll have some very cool things coming down the pike. This month, a lot of cool stuff. I will be posting pictures because of all this G.I. Joe madness. I will be posting pictures of customs that I have been doing for like the last year and a half or so.
Take advantage, bro. Take advantage. Okay, JD's already got his own 6-inch Joe line.
I do.
Yeah.
But every Tuesday night here with these fellas, and tomorrow night all new figure banging.
Figure.
It'll be a good time.
It's gonna be real good times.
It should be a good one, I think.
Tune in, guys. Tune in. You're gonna want to tune in. All right, Dominic, are you still with us?
Do we lose him?
I'm here.
Okay, you've been quiet. I guess he don't give a shit about G.I. Joe.
Nope.
I'm for and against. I don't care what happens. If it does, I hope they do it right, because those fans deserve it. Those fans fucking deserve a good line. So
that's what I say, man. If fucking you got the people out there that want it, make it, man. Make it, and they'll come.
You can find me at Dominic Ross's in the groups, and here Tuesday nights with you guys.
All right. And before I shout myself out, remember to check out Crashbox Customs on social media for your Mezco and diorama needs. If you mention the word realm when placing an order, you'll get a surprise gift with your purchase. And, check out the rest of the shows on the Cool Table Network. Enter the Realm, Shattercast Uncut, Nerd Rage Radio, Beer and Bulges 40K, Stasis Lock, and building up to it, Fresh Communication, Verbally Challenged. New episode just went live a couple hours ago. So check it out. And, shout out to the chat squad, everybody that was live tonight in the chat. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us. As we said, ROC Hangout will continue next. As for myself, Harrican BX all over social media, and check out Verbally Challenged on all audio platforms. All right, that's going to do it for us this week. We'll be back next week with a brand new episode. All right, take care, stay safe. Peace out, guys. We'll see you next week.
Everyone. Later.
Yo, Joe.
Now I know.
Knowing is half the battle.
Oh man, God, I hope so.
Realm.
Say it with me now. Realm.